Okay, first I'm taking the doubts from the exercise 1. So 7 hash, 12th
12.
one. Okay. The question is the molality of a sulfuric acid solution is 0.2. Molality means chotu m is given 0.2 and we know the unit is mole per kg. Calculate the total weight of the solution having 1000 gram of solvent. So with molality of 0.2 given, you are supposed to calculate the total weight of the solution, meaning W solve find karna hai. And in that solution, 1000 gram of the solvent is already given. So tell me, what do you understand by 0.2 molar solution? 0.2 molar का मतलब क्या?
1 mole by mass of solvent in kg.
Express it properly. It's not 1 mole. 0.2 molar is 0.2 moles per kg of solvent, na?
Yes, sir.
It's the number of moles of the solute upon weight of the solvent in kg. Per kg का मतलब 1 kg of the solvent contains 0.2 moles of the solute. It's that simple. Unit में ही पूरा काम हो जाता है. These many moles of the solute is present in 1 kg of the solvent. So 0.2 molar solution means 0.2 mole of solute, and since it is sulfuric acid solution, so solute is H2SO4. It's present in 1 kg, or I can simply say 1000 gram of the solvent. Is that thing clear?
Yes, sir.
Now W solve matlab you require W1 and W2. W1 already दिया हुआ है आपको 1000 ग्राम सॉल्वेंट में कंसिडर करना है. What we are supposed to find is W2, the weight of the solute, and weight of the solute could be found from the moles of the solute. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So the weight of the solute is number of moles into the molar mass of the sulfuric acid, which will be 0.2 times 98. Correct?
Yes, sir.
This comes out to be 19.6 grams, and therefore the W of the solution, the weight of the solution is 1000 of the solvent plus 19.6 of the solute. The total comes out to be 101.9.6 grams.
Yeah.
Option 4. Understood?
Yes.
Anything else from exercise 1? Anything else from exercise 1?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Exercise 2
So can you solve the sixth one?
of?
Exercise 2.
Yes. Okay. Two elements, X with atomic mass 16 and Y with atomic mass 14, combine to form compounds A, B and C. So there are two elements X and Y. They are combining to form the compounds A, B and C. The ratio of different masses of Y, which combines with a fixed mass of X in A, B, C is 1:3:5. Different masses of Y which combines with a fixed mass, मतलब X को यहाँ पर fix कर दिया गया है, and Y is having a proportion of 1:3:5, obviously corresponding to A, B and C. Okay, if 32 parts by mass of X combines with 84 parts by mass of Y in B, then in C, 16 parts by mass of X will combine with. So second part में the information given is important. 32 parts by mass of X is combining with 84 parts by mass of Y, and this is for the compound B. Then in C, for the compound C, 16 parts by mass of X will combine with how many parts by mass of Y? Yes. Has anyone attempted this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Can anyone explain this?
The ratio of B is 1:3. So 32 upon 84 is 1:3. And then we get the relation of X is to Y, and then we can substitute it in the second equation.
1:3 is the ratio for the compound A and B.
For B,
For B,
so first we equate 32x upon 84y is equal to 1 upon 3. Then we get the relation of x is to y, and then we substitute it in the second equation.
okay. Okay, any other method?
So they said fixed mass of X, you convert the 16 to 32.
16 to 32, yes. Then?
So then the other side will also become twice, and then you take the ratio.
Ratio of what to what?
So they have said fixed mass of X,
Correct.
and it in compound. So we fix the mass of X as 30 as say 16. Then it becomes 16x and 41y. And then after that we know that ratio by mass is 3:5 in compounds B and C. So then that way we apply the ratio for the masses of Y is 3:5.
Correct. So finally the answer will be
70.
70 parts. Perfect. Okay. See, first of all, can you tell me which law it is related with?
Multiple proportion.
It's law of multiple proportions. That is the first thing, because law of multiple proportion states that when two elements combine to form multiple products, then keeping the mass of one element to be fixed, the ratio in which the other element reacts is in the whole number ratio. That's what is given. 1:3:5. Correct?
Yes.
So with the law of multiple proportions, the Y ratio for the compound B and C is 3:5. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So with this 3:5, you have to solve this particular ratio, which is for the Y. So keeping the mass of X to be fixed here, this 16 wala part by mass would be converted to 32. So this Y would become twice. Now take the ratio of this upon this part by mass of Y and equate it to 3:5 for the compound B and C. And then when you solve, you will simply get 70. Are you clear with this?
Sir.
The first thing which is important is mass of one element is fixed, meaning it is related to law of multiple proportions. Correct? And with law of multiple proportions, one of the element का mass has to be fixed. तो अगर यहाँ पे 16 है तो you have to fix it at 32. So make it twice. So even this will become twice. Now take the ratio of this and equate it to 3:5, which is given for the compound B and C. directly, then you will get the answer as 70. Am I
Okay.
clear on that?
Yes, sir.
So if you solve, it's simple now. 84 upon twice of the y for the compound C and equate it to 3 is to 5. This was a simple relation we were supposed to apply. You will get the y ka value as 70. That's it. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Great. Yes, anything else from this?
So the 17th one.
Okay, 17th. A solution of glucose received from some research laboratory has been marked mole fraction X and molality small m at 10 degrees Celsius. When you will calculate its molality and mole fraction in your laboratory at 24 degrees Celsius, you will find what values? Same or different?
Same,
Why?
because molality doesn't change with temperature,
It was
and neither
temperature.
because
Independent.
temperature
Independent.
independent. Yeah.
That's it. So at 10 degrees Celsius, whatever values you have, the same values you will have at 24 degrees Celsius. So the values will remain X and M respectively. Answer is option 1. Straightforward. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Done from exercise 2?
Can you solve the seventh one?
Huh?
The seventh one.
The 7th one. If LPG cylinder contains mixture of butane and isobutane, then the amount of oxygen that would be required for combustion of 1 kilogram of it would be. So LPG cylinder is containing mixture of butane and isobutane. Amount of oxygen that would be required for burning of 1 kg will be. So how do you solve this? Pura.
So you have to write the equation.
So it's burning or combustion equation which you will write. For which alkane?
First butane and then isobutane.
Will it change?
No, sir.
Because they are isomers of each
Yeah.
other, so they have the same molecular formula,
Yeah,
na?
sure. Yeah.
It contains a mixture, but the formula would remain the same,
Business.
C4H10.
So you can't assume that they are equally proportioned, right? Like 500 grams of each.
But we are not calculating the
Okay, yeah. We
amount
have
of
to
the
calculate
butane or
the. Yeah,
isobutane.
sure. We have to Gay-Lussac's law.
So basically this contains N-butane as well as isobutane. Okay. So if we were talking about how much of the N-butane or isobutane is present, then the proportion would have been important. Now we are talking about the amount of the oxygen required for burning. So on burning of this, you will get carbon dioxide, जितना कार्बन उतना CO2 and जितना हाइड्रोजन उससे आधा H2O. Oxygen, if you see, it will be 13, so balance is 13 by 2. Yes, next.
So then you divide the mass by the molar mass to get the number of moles, and then you multiply it by the volume.
Okay, that is one method. And if you have the balanced reaction, you can directly use the unitary method as well.
So it should be 25 by 2.
Is it? 4
No,
to the
sir.
8 plus 5, 13. 13 by 2. जितना कार्बन उतना CO2, जितना हाइड्रोजन उससे आधा H2O. Now count the oxygen divided by 2. Clear? Hello.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you use the unit method, I think this would be much simpler. It's butane versus the oxygen. So butane molar mass would be 4 into 12, 48 plus 10, 58 gram. So for 58 gram, we require 13 by 2 times of 32. That is 13 into 16 grams. So for 1 kilogram of butane, the burning would require how much of the oxygen? This is what was asked. Correct. And even if you use the Gay-Lussac's law, it would give you the correct answer, because in that case, the volume would be converted into the mass at the standard condition. So X would be equal to 13 into 16 by 58. No need to convert because we want this X in kg only. Clear? So when you solve, you get 3.58. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chalo, anything else?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. This was redox related. There is a reaction of HI with HNO3 giving NO plus I2 plus H2O. So you are supposed to find the stoichiometric coefficients for the reactants. Ananya. Ananya.
Yes, sir.
Yes, how do you solve this? Have you solved?
So no, I haven't.
Why? Why?
So I am not so familiar with redox reactions chapter.
Okay, you're yet to watch the videos?
So in the last two videos,
Okay, please complete it as soon as possible.
I'll finish it by tomorrow, max to max.
Okay. Arya? Arya?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Quickly reply.
1 second, sir. X is
Don't tell me the answer, tell me the method.
balance it.
Balance it. How do you balance this? Trial error method. Trial error method you applied.
Yeah, I did trial error.
That is disaster. Did I ask you to balance the reaction by trial error? Don't we have a better method?
Yeah, equivalence.
Bas. And for equivalence, what do you require?
For equivalence, you require the number of atoms and
Who is
N
the hero of
factor.
equivalence?
N
N
factor.
factor.
n factor.
Speak the language properly. Concept of equivalence matlab n factor. And in the redox, the n factor would be identified as
The
Change in
values.
oxidation
Charge.
number into number of atoms.
Oxidation speed.
change in oxidation number times the number of atoms undergoing the change. Clear? So for balancing a reaction, we can use the n factor method, that is equivalence method, and for that we require the oxidation number. So your approach should be writing the oxidation state of I, nitrogen, and on the other hand nitrogen and I. So having written this, we can identify the change in oxidation number for iodine is how much?
1.
1, and for nitrogen?
3.
3. So now if you apply equivalence of HI equal to equivalence of HNO3. So here they have written X moles and Y moles. So which formula will apply for equivalence? Formula number 1, 2, 3, 4. Which formula to apply?
4.
Moles into n factor.
Moles into n factor. So moles are X, n factor is 1. Moles are Y, n factor is 3. And X is to Y comes out to be 3 is to 1. That's the answer. So 3 is to 1 would be equivalent to 6 is to 2 as well. So from the options, the answer is 3. Arya, do not use the trial error method. Now you have a better method for balancing. अभी भी वही यूज करोगे तो मतलब क्या हुआ इतना मेथड समझाने का?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chalo, now we'll move on to the other part of
So,
mole
sir.
concept. Yeah.
So one last question. Can you solve the 18th one? I'm not getting the answer.
2 molar of 100 ml Na2SO4 is mixed with 3 molar of 100 ml NaCl solution and 1 molar of 200 ml CaCl2 solution. Then the ratio of the concentration of cation and anion is. Okay. So there are 3 salts, Na2SO4, then NaCl and calcium chloride. We are being given the molarity and the volume. What do we get from this molarity and volume?
Moles.
Moles मिल जाता है directly.
Yes, sir.
Always remember the molarity and volume together gives you the moles directly. The product of both of them gives you moles, and if the volume is an ml, it will give millimoles, right?
Yes,
ml
sir.
में ही रखोगे तो millimoles बोलेंगे. So now, if I talk about the cation and the anion, in case of Na2SO4, the moles of the cation would be twice of what we have over here.
Yes, sir.
So 2 into 100, 200 millimoles आता है, but the cation in case of Na2SO4 would be 400 millimoles. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, for calcium chloride, it will be, for sodium chloride, it will be 300,
300.
and for calcium chloride, it will be
200.
200. Anion को अगर देखेंगे तो for sulfate it will be 200. Sodium chloride 300 only.
400.
But in case of calcium chloride, it will be doubled. Cl2 है ना?
Yes, sir.
So this I am getting millimoles of the cation and anion. So now the concentration of the cation is the number of millimoles upon the volume in ml. अब ml में ही ले लेंगे ना?
Yes, sir.
And we are asked the ratio. तो ratio जब लोगे तो volume तो cancel off ही हो जाएगा.
Yes, sir.
So finally, the concentration of the cation upon the concentration of the anion is simply the ratio of the cation and the anion ka millimoles. And you have 900 by 900. So answer is 1:1. Option 4. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that, we finish with the exercise 1 and 2 of mole concept. Now there are some extra things which you need to remember because mole concept is a very wide chapter. So there are many other things which are related with the moles. So in the handwritten notes, I've given few of the topics related with mole concept. So come to page number 1.11. Handwritten notes, page number 1.11. On the same page, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there is some correction. I'll tell you what it is. Let's understand the concept of excess and limiting reagent. So excess and limiting could be found by the concept of equivalence also. You have to just compare the equivalence of the two reactants. Whichever is less becomes the limiting, and from that we can find the amount of the product formed. तो ये हम कर भी चुके हैं. Just one more example I've given over here. Okay, the question is, if 10 gram of silver reacts with 1 gram of sulfur, amount of the silver sulfide formed will be. Silver is reacting with the sulfur to form silver sulfide. So you can balance off and find the limiting reagent. That is one method, perfectly fine. Or the another method is you compare the equivalence of Ag versus equivalence of S. Once again, for equivalence, you need to have the
N factor.
N factor, and for N factor you need to have the oxidation number. So now follow the sequence what I'm saying. To understand the concept of equivalence we require N factor, and for a redox reaction N factor is based on oxidation state. So quickly tell me the oxidation number of Ag.
0.
Bachelor wala hai. Sulfur
0.
0. And in sulfur sulfide, sorry, in silver sulfide, sorry, it will be plus 1 and minus 2.
-2.
So the equivalence of Ag based on the weight will apply the formula number 1, which is weight upon the equivalent weight. And equivalent weight in turn is molar mass upon the N factor. So what is the N factor for silver?
1.
1. And here for sulfur it's 1 gram divided by molar mass is 32 upon the N factor 2. So basically we are comparing 10 upon 108 versus 1 upon 16. So instead of solving this, I can equivalently say this is 10 upon 160. So with 10 being a constant, denominator you have to compare, and lower the denominator, higher is the value. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
We can say that this equivalence is greater, and if equivalence of Ag is greater, this sulfur becomes your
Limiting.
limiting reagent. So first part में we identified a limiting reagent. अब second step में करना क्या है? We equate the equivalence of the limiting reagent with the product formed. So once again, this equivalence of sulfur is directly taken as 1 by 16, and for this the formula of weight upon equivalent weight is to be applied. Now silver sulfide is an ionic compound. So for an ionic compound, we can say the equivalent weight is the equivalent weight of the cation and the equivalent weight of the anion. So cation silver का 108 था and anion sulfur का 16 था. So I can directly use this relation of silver plus sulfide. So W would be finally 124 by 16, and it comes out to be 7.75 grams. Got this?
So I didn't understand how you found the equivalent weight of Ag2S.
Ag2S will be breaking down as Ag plus and twice of S minus 2.
So shouldn't it be 2 Ag plus and S minus 2?
2 Ag plus and S minus 2. So equivalent weight of any ionic compound is equal to equivalent weight of cation, that is Ag plus, and the equivalent weight of anion. This formula I've already written in the table also. If you see the N factor table which I have given on page number 1.9, sorry 1.8. Dekha?
Yes, sir.
So for the silver, it's equal to the molar mass upon the N factor, plus for sulfur, it will be the molar mass of 32 upon the n factor. Now n factor in this case would be the charge. So that's what I have written as sum of 108 and 16, which is 124.
So, but it's a redox reaction, right?
Yeah. So even for the redox, if you see, for silver, the change is from +1 to 0 into 2.
Yes, sir.
And for sulfur also, it's -2 to 0 into 1.
Yes, sir.
So even if you calculate by that method, the total mass of this would be twice into 108 plus 32 divided by the change in the oxidation number is 2.
Oxidation number.
What you get is the same relation, 124 ही मिलेगा. Right?
Okay,
Just
sir.
divide it.
Okay.
You will get the same answer.
Okay,
So
sir.
either you do by this method or this method, the answer remains the same. Okay, now in the handwritten part, this 32 wasn't divided by 2. This is the correction. So make it as 32 by 2, and instead of 10 by 320, it will be 10 by 160. And here also change. Final answer is correct, 7.75 gram. I messed up with the n factor over here. Done?
Yes, sir.
So this method I've already given. For excess and limiting, this is a simpler method whenever a redox reaction is in consideration. Rather than balancing it and then doing the calculation, the equivalence method is better. Okay. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Then we come to a concept of titration. Heard about this word?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What is the simple meaning of this titration?
Neutralization with a soluble base.
Neutralization with an alkali soluble base. Okay. And what is the application of titration? Why do we do it?
Preparation of salts with Na plus, K plus or ammonium ions.
That would be volumetric analysis which you are talking about.
You can determine the exact amount of solute or solvent used.
Exact amount of the solute or solvent used. Perfect. And also to determine the end point of the reaction. When the reaction is getting completed, that end point could be also understood by titration reaction. Okay. So one example of titration is being given, and for that the calculation was asked. So question is, 100 ml solution of 0.1 normal HCl was titrated with 0.2 normal NaOH solution. So the titration is carried out between acid and a base. The titration was discontinued after adding 30 ml of NaOH solution. The remaining titration was completed by adding 0.25 normal KOH solution. The volume of the KOH required for completing the titration is. So what you should understand from this question is, there was 100 ml of the acid which was titrated twice. One with NaOH and secondly with KOH, having different normality or concentrations. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So basically you have to apply the equivalence twice, one with HCl and NaOH, and secondly again HCl but now with KOH. Concept clear हुआ?
Yes.
So I'll apply equivalence of HCl. For any neutralization reaction, equivalence of the acid is always equal to equivalence of the base, because that takes into consideration the balancing part of the neutralization reaction. In this case, there was no problem because both are monobasic and monoacidic substances. Okay. Keep responding. Keep responding.
Yes, sir.
So equivalence of HCl में we had a total of 100 ml. So first case में how much volume was titrated? I don't know. So I'll take the volume as VA into the normality given is 0.1. I'm using the formula number 3, N into V. Okay, and the base normality was 0.2 and there was 30 ml consumed in the first scenario. So
Yes,
this
sir.
will give me the volume of the acid, which is 60 ml out of 100 ml, which was consumed when it was titrated with NaOH. So now they say remaining titration. So now in the remaining titration, how much is the volume of the acid?
40.
40. So again this HCl was titrated with KOH. So normality doesn't change. Normality to 0.1 ही रहेगा, but volume will be taken as 40, is now titrated with 0.25, and how much is the volume of the base that is to be found? Understood?
Yes, sir.
So 0.25 यहाँ पर लाओगे तो 16, VB will be 16 ml. ये हो गया titration का concept. The question was simple. There was 100 ml of the acid which was first titrated with NaOH and remaining titration was done with KOH. So we applied the concept of equivalence of HCl with NaOH, found out how much of the volume of the acid was titrated, and then the remaining volume when titrated with KOH, how much of the base is required that was supposed to be found. Concept clear?
Yes, sir.
Now we come to next concept, volume strength of peroxide. These all concepts are going to be repeated when we move to other chapters. Let's say this peroxide ka concept we'll learn again in elements of group 1 and 2. But since it is related with mole concept, there might be questions based on this. इसलिए मैंने यहीं पे cover किया है. Okay. Now volume strength of peroxide. Peroxide commercially has many applications. Can you name few applications of hydrogen peroxide?
As a catalyst.
Okay, as a catalyst. Anything else? No applications you know?
The antiseptic like for skin.
Yes, it is used as a mild antiseptic. It is a good bleaching agent because it is a rich source of. What does hydrogen peroxide give on breakdown?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. So since
Nascent
it is
oxygen.
giving, since it is giving oxygen, it can give O2 or nascent oxygen. That depends on the condition under which you are breaking down the peroxide compound. But it's a rich source of oxygen. That is why it is a good oxidizing agent, and it can also be used as a bleaching agent. It's used as a mild antiseptic, and in the commercial name, hydrogen peroxide is sold as perhydrol. Commercial name of hydrogen peroxide is perhydrol. Just note down this, huh? Or it can also be found as oxidol, perhydrol or oxidol. So if you want to buy the peroxide solution, then peroxide is always available with an indication of volume strength. And this volume strength indicates the amount of oxygen which would be produced for a certain volume of hydrogen peroxide. The volume strength of hydrogen peroxide is measured in terms of how much of the oxygen is produced for a given volume. So standard way में मान लो अगर आप hydrogen peroxide solution लेने जाते हो and the bottle in which the H2O2 is stored is labeled as 20V H2O2. क्या लेबल किया है? 20V H2O2. अब इसका मतलब, how will you read this? That is important. It means that 1 liter of hydrogen peroxide will give 20 liters of oxygen under standard conditions, STP or NTP, whatever is the standard. So for every liter of hydrogen peroxide, the amount of the oxygen released is 20 liter if it is labeled as 20V. If it is labeled as 10V, here for 1 liter of hydrogen peroxide, this is fixed. There will be 10 liters of oxygen liberated. Similarly, if it is 30V, it will give you 30 liters of oxygen. Samjha? This is the standard notation for the labeling of hydrogen peroxide. Am I clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now hydrogen peroxide decomposes to give water and oxygen. If I balance it, it is twice of H2O2 giving twice of water and oxygen. Balanced hai?
Yes, sir.
Now, for this volume strength, there are many questions which can come. You could be asked for 20V H2O2, what is the molarity, what is the normality, what is the strength of the hydrogen peroxide. अब ये सबको solve करने का एक method है and that is very very simple. Just observe. So 2 moles of hydrogen peroxide gives 1 mole of oxygen, and this 1 mole of oxygen occupies how much volume at STP or NTP?
22.4.
22.4.
Everyone agrees to this?
Yes, sir.
So for 2 moles, I'm getting 22.4 liter. Then for 20 liter of the oxygen, how many moles of the hydrogen peroxide would have been consumed? So I can say X. So X is number of moles of H2O2. I'm simply applying the unitary method. That is equal to X, and that in turn is equal to 20 into 2 by 22.4, or I can write 20 by 11.2. Chalega?
Yes, sir.
So these many moles of hydrogen peroxide are present in how much volume of hydrogen peroxide?
1 liter.
It's present in 1 liter of hydrogen peroxide. So can I say this moles are present in 1 liter of H2O2? And when you have the number of moles in 1 liter, it is nothing but its
Molarity.
molarity. So molarity find कैसे किया हमने? We just divided the volume strength given by 11.2. Hence you can see the formula which I have written directly. Molarity of hydrogen peroxide in terms of volume strength is V upon 11.2. Got it? That is the first formula. Is this clear? तो अब आपको ये कैसे आया वो मेथड मैंने बता दिया. If you are able to remember, well and good. Otherwise, direct formula application can also be done. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Secondly, this molarity could be converted into normality also. How is normality related with molarity?
Molarity into n factor.
Normality is molarity into n factor. So molarity can be written as normality upon the n factor, everyone.
Yes, sir.
And that would be V upon 11.2. So now we have to find the hero. So the n factor for the peroxide would be observed from the reaction. And in the reaction, the peroxide is changing from -1 to -2 as well as -1 to 0. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So either ways, if you observe, the change is from -1 to -2 or -1 to 0. It's 1 ka change.
Yes, sir.
Multiplied by number of atoms undergoing the change. So what is the n factor? 2. So this 2, when you balance over here, it comes out to be 5.6. And second formula, normality agar pucha, so simply divide the volume strength with 5.6. Is the formula clear?
Yes, sir.
And तीसरा, they can ask you the strength. Now strength का मतलब होता है ग्राम per liter. Molarity is mole per liter, but strength is simply the molarity expressed in weight per liter. So how do you convert the moles into weight?
Multiply by molar mass.
That's what is done. Molarity ko you just multiply by molar mass of hydrogen peroxide, which is 34. So we'll get the strength as m into 34. मतलब ये same question में there are 3 sub questions which could be asked. 20V hydrogen peroxide has a molarity 20 by 11.2, normality 20 by 5.6, and strength is this molarity times 34. Clear? This is commercial way of labeling of hydrogen peroxide which is available. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Why you aren't responding? Josh dikhao. Be louder.
Yes, sir.
So,
Hmm.
so in the H2O2, the oxygen is undergoing oxidation and reduction. So don't we have to apply that formula of N1 into N2 upon N1 plus N2?
Okay, so basically this is with regards to the disproportionation reaction. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, here, if we see the overall concept of the hydrogen peroxide, we are relating it with only oxygen. We are not relating it with water.
Yes,
The
sir.
hydrogen peroxide is related only with oxygen. So basically this n factor will be in relation to only the oxygen and not with respect to the water. इसीलिए यहाँ पर ऑक्सीजन के रिलेशन में देखोगे तो -1 to 0 the change is 1 into 2 the number of atoms, that is why we are taking 2.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Next. Now the percentage labeling of oleum. जैसे labeling of hydrogen peroxide is done in terms of volume strength, the oleum is labeled in terms of percentage. अब सबसे पहले oleum क्या होता है? What is oleum formula?
H2S2O7.
Perfect. H2S2O7. And it could also be equivalently written as H2SO4 dot SO3. Oleum is H2S2O7, which is equivalently H2SO4 dot SO3. You can note down this oleum formula. Okay. Now, in oleum, we are actually having two components. One is sulfuric acid and second is sulfur trioxide. Okay. Now, if I want to have pure sulfuric acid, then I need to convert this sulfur trioxide into sulfuric acid so that the solution is having only one component, which is H2SO4. For that, I need to dilute the oleum solution, because dilution में क्या होगा, the SO3 which is present can add up with the water to form H2SO4. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Once again, understand, oleum have two components. One is sulfuric acid and other is SO3. So this oleum is said to be impure sulfuric acid. What is the impurity?
SO3.
SO3. So to get the pure H2SO4, the SO3 is to be converted into sulfuric acid. And how do we convert? By adding
Dilution.
water, meaning dilution. बराबर? तो अब कितना SO3 present होता है in the oleum, that is basically the percentage labeling. And this labeling is always done in 100+%. मतलब मान लो ये लेबलिंग में दिया हुआ है 109% ऑफ H2SO4, कहीं पे ऐसा दिया है 109% ऑफ H2SO4, तो इसका मतलब क्या है? The 109% refers to two components. What are the two components?
H2SO4 and
H2SO4
SO3.
and SO3.
So now this H2SO4 and SO3 combinedly is referring to oleum. And oleum के अंदर जो SO3 है वो second component consider करते हैं. So 109% का मतलब 100% oleum के साथ there is 9% of SO3. Meaning in this 100%, the SO3 available is 9%, which will be diluted with water to get total sulfuric acid, which will be 109 gram or 109% pure. मतलब स्टेटमेंट वाइज समझाओ तो वहां पे देखो लिखा हुआ है oleum bottle which is labeled as 109% H2SO4 would mean 109 gram of total mass of sulfuric acid pure. sulfuric acid pure, ये पूरा जो है ना 109% ये प्योर H2SO4 है. तो इस प्योर H2SO4 में एक पार्ट ओलियम का होगा और दूसरा पार्ट जो SO3 से बना हुआ सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड है वो होगा. So it will be formed when 100 gram of this oleum is diluted by 9 gram of the water, which will combine with all the free SO3 in oleum to form H2SO4. तो यहाँ पर ये SO3 को H2SO4 में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए this 9% dilution is actually required. 9% of the dilution. तो अब लेबलिंग में कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है वो बताता हूँ. Once again I write the formula of SO3 and water giving you H2SO4. Is this a balanced reaction?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
It is a direct balanced reaction. मतलब 1 mole of SO3 will react with 1 mole of H2SO4 to produce 1 mole of sulfuric acid. It would also mean that 80 gram SO3 requires 18 gram of water. So this 9% meaning 9 gram of the water would require how much? 40 gram. So for the 9% of the water, 40 gram of SO3 is required. Yes or no? मतलब इस
Yes, sir.
100% oleum में जो free SO3 present है, that will be how much?
40 grams.
40 grams. Percentage के form में, since 100 के reference में है, तो directly I can write 40%. तो अब simple way में, if I now give, let's say 115% of H2SO4 या oleum भी देते कई बार. तो main what is the excess of 15% referring to?
15 grams of water.
बस 100 के excess में जो भी percentage है, that is the amount of water. So 80 grams correspond to 18 gram water. So once again 15 gram water will correspond to how much? And that answer would be your percentage of free SO3. ये हो गया shortcut. समझा?
Yes, sir.
Question comes as 109% of H2SO4 contains percent free SO3 equal to. So the shortcut trick is whatever is in excess of 100%, that is the amount of water which is required to convert the SO3 into the H2SO4. So that much amount of the SO3 would have been present in the oleum. So अगर 100% oleum लेते हैं तो उस oleum में यहाँ पे actually 60% of sulfuric acid present था and 40% तो SO3 था ना? Are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
So अगर कोई question percentage labeling of oleum पे आता है, trick is excess percentage is the water का amount which is to be compared with SO3 by unitary method and find out the percent of free SO3 available. That's it. Clear on this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next is hard and soft water. So what is the difference between hard and soft water?
Soft water gives a lather with soap and hard water doesn't.
Correct. Soft water forms a lather easily and hard water doesn't. So the hardness is due to what?
Impurities,
What are the major impurities for the hardness?
bicarbonate, chlorides,
And sulfates. And mainly the hardness is caused due to the alkaline earth metals, which are calcium and magnesium.
Yes,
And
sir.
soft water generally contains sodium and potassium cations. Yes?
Yes, sir.
So hardness of water is due to BSC of calcium and magnesium. And BSC refers to bicarbonates, sulfates and chlorides. The hardness which is caused due to bicarbonate salts of calcium and magnesium is temporary. Bicarbonates ka hardness is temporary and sulfates and chlorides, if present, cause permanent hardness, which is difficult to be removed and can't be removed by physical methods. So temporary hardness को निकालने के लिए you can use some physical methods. You can use some physical methods. But if the hardness is permanent, you have to use a chemical method to remove it, to convert to soft water. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are the physical methods which could be used to remove temporary hardness?
Boiling.
The simplest of the method is boiling. So temporary hardness can be removed by, first is the physical method boiling, and second is a chemical method called Clark's process. So boiling में क्या होता है? The temporary hardness is due to the bicarbonates. So the bicarbonate salts which are soluble in the hard water on boiling converts to carbonates along with H2O and CO2. So this MHCO3 twice ka M could be magnesium or calcium. So the hardness is removed by converting the bicarbonate into carbonate. So this is physical method. And now if I come to the chemical method, the bicarbonate is treated with calcium hydroxide, which is called milk of lime. Quick lime actually CaO hota hai, calcium oxide, and when you dissolve in water, the aqueous solution of that is calcium hydroxide, which is milk of lime. Okay, so on treating with milk of lime, once again the bicarbonate is converted into carbonate, and here also the bicarbonate of magnesium is converted into calcium carbonate along with MgOH twice and water. So questions could directly come कि temporary hardness is removed by boiling and Clark's process. And Clark's process uses what reagent? It's calcium hydroxide or milk of lime or aqueous quicklime. Okay.
Yes.
And permanent hardness can be removed only by chemical methods, and there are three methods in this. First is with Na2CO3, which is also called, commercially it is also called
Baking, no.
Washing soda.
Baking is bicarbonate. This is washing soda. Sodium carbonate is washing soda. Okay. Now we know that permanent hardness is caused due to the sulfates or the chlorides of calcium and magnesium, and we are removing it by adding detergent, that is washing soda. So in villages where the water is hard, in some of the villages where the water is hard, they simply add the detergent. That detergent is nothing but in the form of washing soda. So what it does is it converts the sulfate salt into the carbonate salt and converts the carbonate of the sodium into the corresponding sulfate or the chloride. So basically जिसकी वजह से hardness था, that has got removed because of its conversion into carbonate salt. Got it? Second method is using Calgon. Calgon is the commercial name given to sodium hexametaphosphate. Hexametaphosphate. Now concept of meta आपको बताया था मैंने. What are meta salts? Ortho meta I had talked about. Yes. Ortho acid and meta acid. No one remembers? Ortho, hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Ortho acid and meta acid I had talked about.
So the IUPAC in the cyclic rings, I think so.
No. Ortho acid and meta acid always differs by one water molecule. So if I talk about orthophosphoric acid, it is H3PO4. पानी निकाल दो तो what formula do you get?
H2PO3.
H2 क्यों आएगा? HPO3. So this is called metaphosphoric acid. Orthophosphoric acid minus water gives you metaphosphoric acid. And the salt of metaphosphoric acid would be called metaphosphate, na? कॉन्सेप्ट
Yes, sir.
बताया है मैंने. इक एसिड का salts are always named ending with ate, ate. So the HPO3 का sodium salt would be NaPO3, and
Yes,
if
sir.
I repeat it 6 times, it will become Na6PO3 6, Na6 and PO3 6. चलेगा?
Yes, sir.
This is written as Na2 Na4 PO3 6. This is called complex representation. ये आगे समझेगा. But how the formula came, that is what I have explained you. Na2 Na4 PO3 6. You can now simply remember this as NaPO3 and the whole repeated 6 times. Sorry, NaPO3 6 times. चलेगा? Keep
Yes,
noting
sir.
down, huh? जो extra है, whatever is important, you can note down over there only. So now the chemical method is simple. The M+2 from the hard water, which could be magnesium or calcium cations, are added with the Kalgan and it converts into Na2M2PO3 6, which gets soluble. And because of that, the hardness is removed. And तीसरा method is using permuted. Permuted is the commercial name for zeolites. सुना है zeolite के बारे में? Okay. So permuted is the commercial name given to zeolite, and zeolite is the commercial name of hydrated sodium aluminium silicate. Sodium aluminium silicates. Silicate salts are very important. They are used in the manufacture of glasses also. So Na2Al2Si2O8.XH2O. तो आपको ये पूरा फॉर्मूला याद नहीं रखना है. The zeolite is just represented as Na2Z. This part is represented as Z, which is called zeolite. ठीक है? Now having known this, the zeolites when added with the chloride or even the sulfates, so simply ion exchange हो रहा है यहाँ पर. The Z goes with M and the Na goes with Cl. That is the reason we are calling this method as ion exchange method. Even the Kalgan method was ion exchange, right?
Yes, sir.
So simply the chloride is now converted to zeolite and sodium combines with the Cl negative to form sodium chloride. So in this process, zeolite gets exhausted because of its conversion into calcium and magnesium salt. The zeolite would go on consuming as we add up the chloride or sulfate of the magnesium or calcium. ठीक है? Understood this?
Yes.
So it becomes soluble.
Pardon?
The MZ which is
Yeah.
formed.
Yes. This will become soluble. Okay. Now why this hardness part was taken? Because there is a question related to degree of hardness, which is related in turn with mole. And that is the reason I had introduced this. So degree of hardness is defined as, now hardness को label कैसे करते हैं? That is in terms of percentage of CaCO3. ठीक है? जैसे we talked about labeling of hydrogen peroxide, labeling of oleum, वैसे we also have the labeling of hardness, and there are certain standard methods of labeling which is used on the commercial scale. So degree of hardness is defined as number of parts by mass of CaCO3 present in million parts by mass of water. Million parts by mass of water. So it's measured in ppm. This we have already understood.
Yes, sir.
ppm is parts per million. If the concentration of the solute is in very small proportion, the concentration is always measured in parts per million. Similarly, जो hardness है उसमें the magnesium and the calcium salts would be present in very small proportion for the overall volume of water taken, and that is why the hardness is measured in ppm. That's a simple reason to it. ठीक है? So now, the degree of hardness of water sample containing 36 milligram of MgSO4 per kilogram of water is, yeah?
So that mass of water is only water and CaCO3 combined.
Combined. The water is basically the hard water, so obviously it will be combined.
Okay.
It's not pure water we are talking about. Okay. Now a question आना चाहिए कि why we are taking in terms of CaCO3. The reason is CaCO3 का molar mass is 100. So if you express the hardness in terms of CaCO3, that directly gives you the hardness in terms of percentage. समझा? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So if you have magnesium का chloride और calcium का chloride और magnesium का sulfate और calcium sulfate or the bicarbonates of the magnesium or calcium, the amount can be expressed in terms of calcium carbonate so that the hardness could be directly expressed in terms of percentage. That is the reason we are taking the CaCO3 as the reference, nothing else. ठीक है? तो अब करना क्या है? We have to find the proportionate amount of whatever compound is given in 1 million parts by mass of water. 1 मिलियन में कितना है वो फाइंड करना है. समझा ट्रिक? Proportionate मतलब unitary method से convert MgSO4 into equivalent CaCO3 and find that in million parts by mass of water. तो देखो फर्स्ट पार्ट में क्या किया गया है. This 36 milligram of MgSO4, due to which the hardness is present in the water, this 36 milligram of MgSO4 is present in how much amount of water?
1 kg.
1 kg. So can I say 10 raised to 3 gram of water? ठीक है, बट हमें कितने में फाइंड करना है?
10 raised to 6.
So 10 raised to 6 gram of water would have 36 milligram into 10 raised to 3, which is equal to milli and 10 raised to 3.
36 grams.
Cancels off, so 36 gram हो गया. तो सबसे पहले क्या किया? Whatever amount of the water is given, convert to million gram of water. अब इस MgSO4 को proportionate CaCO3 में convert कर दो. तो simply unitary method MgSO4 versus CaCO3. Sorry, yeah, CaCO3. So 1 mole of MgSO4 would be equivalent to 1 mole of CaCO3. What is the molar mass of MgSO4? Calculate. Mg plus SO4.
120.
120.
So 120 gram of MgSO4 is equivalent to
100
gram of CaCO3. So 36 gram of MgSO4 would be equivalent to how much? It will be 36 times 100 upon 120. 12 3s are 36 into 10 is 30 gram. Therefore, 30 gram of CaCO3 is present in 10 raised to 6 gram of water. With this statement, can I say that the concentration is 30 ppm? This is your degree of hardness. Clear है? Doubt? चल एक और क्वेश्चन लेते हैं.
So I had one doubt. So can you go back to the previous slide?
Yes.
So instead of keeping water as grams, can't we convert it into milligrams so it becomes 10 raised to 6 milligrams?
Yes.
Oh, okay, 1 minute. It's a ratio, so it won't change.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry.
See, in this case, it was 1 per kg. There are times in which the question might have 500 grams or maybe 1500 grams. So method remains simple. Whatever amount is given, you convert for 10 raised to 6 grams, and then proportionately you compare it with calcium carbonate, you get the hardness का value. खत्म. समझा? जैसे let's say there is 45 milligram of MgCl2 in 1.5 kg of water. So for this, degree of hardness is how much? चलो क्या करेंगे? First part. Say.
45 grams is then 1.5 into 10 raised to 3 grams of water.
45 milligram of MgCl2 is present in 1.5 into 10 raised to 3 gram of water. So हमें कितने में interested है?
10 raised to
6 ग्राम में कितना? ठीक है, so it will be 10 raised to 6 into 45 into 10 raised to minus 3 upon 1.5 into 10 raised to 3. Okay, so this and this goes away. Yes or no? Hello, respond.
Yes, sir.
This comes out to be 30 grams of MgCl2. अब क्या करोगे? Unitary method, mole concept से MgCl2 is equivalent to CaCO3. Compare करो. So this is 24 plus 71.
95.
So 95 gram of MgCl2 corresponds to 100 gram of CaCO3. So 30 gram of MgCl2 corresponds to how much? So this itself is the answer, 30 into 100 by 95. So इस ग्राम को आप जो भी आंसर आया, this is equivalent to ppm only ना, because this much amount is present in 10 raised to 6 gram of water, which is parts per million only.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt here? Speak up, yes, no?
No, sir.
Oh, sir.
So now with this, finally I complete the mole concept with each and everything covered. Okay. So most of you have received the notes, the DPPs of Cengage which are being given. Few of them haven't collected. So next week I'll update in the group again. Whoever has not collected, please collect it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now those who have collected, they can start solving the DPPs. Now I'll tell you the pattern of DPPs which is there. For every chapter, there are subtopics which are being given. So if you open the mole concept, the first chapter, you have 1.1 to 1.7, 7 subtopics you have. You can look at the index. Okay. Everyone has a book with them?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now in 1.1, similarly for every other subsections, there are multiple sections which are given. Subjective type is the first one, then single correct answer type, multiple correct answer type, integer type, and comprehension based. Barabar?
Yes, sir.
Now, this DPPs covers JEE mains as well as JEE advanced. You can see the cover page, it is JEE mains and advanced. Okay. So as of now, we are focusing on JEE mains only. So for every section, you are supposed to start with single correct type, single answer correct type, and integer type only. मतलब हर section का only these two parts are to be solved. The detailed solutions are given at the back. After the completion of all the topics, the solutions are also given. So you can start solving it, and if you are stuck anywhere, you can look at the solutions. If you don't understand with the solutions also, then you can ask the doubt. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So your first priority would be to complete my notes, the volume 1 which is given. Thoroughly you complete the solved examples, exercise 1 and exercise 2. Plus the handwritten notes, I have given the synopsis which would cover the mole concept related other concepts as well. जैसे मैंने आज discuss किया, volume strength, labeling of oleum, the hardness part, in which degree of hardness is considered. तो ये 3 parts भी आपको यहाँ से देखने हैं. Plus redox reaction भी मैंने यहाँ पर cover किया है indirectly. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So are you all following what is going on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you can start with the redox reactions. Redox reaction ka synopsis which I have given handwritten. You can go through those synopses, and few of the examples are also there. So I'll just brief you with those things which are being given. Can I extend for 15 minutes? Yes? कोई हाँ भी नहीं बोलता है.
Yes, sir.
You can say no also if you are exhausted. Akriti, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Exhausted?
No, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir, I'm sure.
You guys are not responding. I have a like great doubt. Are you all following or not? Are you able to understand or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So speak up. Whenever I take a pause, I expect some response from you all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. ठीक है. So just open the redox reactions handwritten notes. Okay, in the initial part, the 7 rules are being given, which I have already discussed in the theory also. So whatever I have discussed in theory, I'm not going through those parts. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'll directly come to page 2.3, the exceptional cases of evaluation of oxidation number. So there are few of the exceptional cases, with reason of course, in which the oxidation number is not directly calculated by simply applying the rules. जैसे the first part is evaluation of sulfur in H2SO5. Now H2SO5 is the peroxy derivative of sulfuric acid only. We know that sulfuric acid is H2SO4.
4.
Now, if I draw the structure of sulfuric acid, it is HOS, double bond O, and OH. This is how sulfuric acid structure is. Okay, it's HOS, double bond O, and OH. And we know that sulfuric acid is a dibasic acid.
Yes, sir.
And the dibasic acid is related with how many H are bonded with the oxygen atom. These are all oxy acids. So whatever number of H are bonded to oxygen, they are determining their basicity. Okay. Now instead of H2SO4, if we have H2SO5, this is called peroxy monosulfuric acid. अब ये मोनो क्यों लिखते हैं, उसका भी रीजन है. Peroxy monosulfuric acid. So from the name itself, you understand that there is a peroxy linkage. And what is a peroxy linkage?
Oxygen to oxygen.
Joined by?
Single bond.
Perfect. So instead of this oxygen, we have oxygen, single bond oxygen, and then H. This is your peroxy monosulfuric acid, which is very importantly also called Carose acid. Carose acid. Carose acid. ठीक है, तो ये हो गया nomenclature and structure की बात. Now, if I were to get the oxidation number over here, the simple calculation would have been hydrogen ka +2 plus X for sulfur and 5 into -2 for oxygen equals to 0.
Yes.
With this calculation, I would have got the answer as X equal to +8. बराबर?
Yes, sir.
ये मिलना चाहिए. But if I talk about sulfur, what is its max oxidation number? ये मैंने last time बताया था. What is the max oxidation number? It can be 6 only, because 16 is the atomic number with the configuration 286. Sulfur का 6 से ऊपर oxidation state हो ही नहीं सकता. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि this calculation of oxidation number is
Wrong.
wrong. And why it is wrong? Because we have considered all the 5 oxygen to be oxides. That was a mistake. Now,
Yes, sir.
if you correct it, these 2 oxygens are having the oxidation number not -2 but -1, because it is peroxy, na?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, hydrogen ka +2 plus sulfur ka X plus 1, 2 and 3 oxygen would be taken as -2 and 2 of the oxygen would be taken as -1. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So this gives you the oxidation state as +6, and that is correct answer for sulfur oxidation number in Carose acid.
Yes.
Isliye this is an exceptional case, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, we have one more acid, H2S2O8. Can I say this is extended form of H2S2O7?
H2SO4.
ना.
Oleum.
आज ही हमने देखा ताजा ओलियम H2SO4.SO4. तो उसका एक्सटेंडेड फॉर्म बोल सकते हैं कि नहीं?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. And since this is an extended version, this is also a peroxy acid. But now we call this as a peroxy disulfuric acid. Why? This is mono because of 1
2S.
sulfur. This is di because of 2 sulfur. And this particular acid is commercially called Marshall's acid. Marshall's acid. Carose and Marshall's. नाम का बात हो गया.
Yes, sir.
अब काम का बात करते हैं. So again, out of the 8 oxygen, there will be 2 oxygen having a
Single.
peroxy linkage, and the structure of this is HO, S double bond O, OO between the 2 sulfur, and then similar to the sulfuric acid part, you can see this part is remaining the same. है ना? HOS double bond O. So once again, if I apply the -1 for the 2 oxygen atoms, I will get the sulfur ka oxidation number equal to +6. Oxidation number of sulfur in this case is +6. First में किया, ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
And third one is CrO5. CrO5. If you calculate it directly by taking oxygen as oxide, what would you get in the answer?
+10.
+10.
+10. But again, chromium का max oxidation state क्या हो सकता है?
+5.
No.
+7.
Is 29.
Chromium is 24, copper is 29.
Oh yeah.
And chromium was an exception
+6.
in terms of configuration also. It was
Yes, sir.
argon 4s.
4s.
4s1.
4s1, 3d5.
So how many total electrons it can lose?
6.
6.
So max oxidation number chromium का +6.
6.
मतलब अगर ये पता है तो marking +10 as the answer would be a crime. It would be absolutely wrong. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So now, if you take 1 peroxy linkage over here, तो 3 oxygen का you would take -6 and 2 oxygen का -2. Still, what answer do you get?
Yes.
8. Even this is wrong. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
4 peroxy.
So there are actually 2 peroxy linkages. 1 peroxy linkage का मतलब 2 oxygen. So when we see the structure of this, firstly the name is chromium peroxide, and structure is famously called butterfly structure. It's a ring structure with 2 peroxy linkage like this and 1 oxygen by a double bond. मतलब 5 में से 4 oxygen have an oxidation number of -1. So it will be X, -2 for 1 oxygen and -4 for 4 oxygen. It will give you the oxidation state as +6, which is justified. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So peroxy वाले 3 main compounds है Carose acid, Marshall's acid, and the peroxide of chromium, having a famous butterfly structure. Now with this, there is one more important reaction. ये reaction आप लिख लो वहीं पे, on the same page. The chromium peroxide is obtained by the reaction of dichromate in acidic medium on reaction with hydrogen peroxide. So chromium का peroxide बनने के लिए hydrogen peroxide is used. So this gives you K2SO4 plus CrO5 and H2O. This is the reaction. If you look at the color change for this, the dichromate has what color?
Orange.
Orange.
Orange or reddish orange. And the chromium ka peroxide is a blue colored compound, light blue colored compound. So sometimes it is also asked that when acidified dichromate is treated with hydrogen peroxide, the compound formed has an oxidation number of
+6.
+6. Here,
Yes, sir.
Okay. Second point में bleaching powder का दिया है, and this is already discussed in theory also. In CaOCl2, the two chlorines don't have the same oxidation number. In fact, structurally, it is Ca plus 2 with Cl minus and OCl minus.
Yes, sir.
So, one chlorine has oxidation number of -1, but the other chlorine has an oxidation number of
+1.
+1. So, there is dual oxidation number. Similarly, Fe3O4, what is this called?
Magnetite.
Very good. Magnetite. And it's a mixed oxide of?
Fe1, Fe2.
Very good. Meaning the Fe has oxidation number of +2 as
+2
well as
and
+3.
+3.
Okay. And if you calculate the oxidation number directly, you would get 3x minus 8 equals to 0. So x will be equal to +8/3. But can the oxidation number be fractional?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But this fractional oxidation number would always refer to average oxidation number. It is not the real oxidation number.
Yes,
रियल
sir.
ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर कभी भी फ्रैक्शनल नहीं हो सकता, बिकॉज ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर क्या होता है? इट इज द लॉस और द गेन ऑफ द इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. सो व्हाट वी आर गेटिंग इज अ फ्रैक्शनल ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर विच इज एवरेज. तो यहाँ पर एक्चुअली इट इज द एवरेज ऑफ +2 फॉर दिस आयन and +3 into 2 for the another ion. And when you divide by 3, you get the average. समझा?
Yes, sir.
थर्ड में ये भी कंपाउंड मैंने डिस्कस किया हुआ है एवरेज के कॉन्सेप्ट में, सोडियम टेट्राथायोनेट. Yes or no? इसका स्ट्रक्चर इफ यू रिमेंबर, आई हैड टॉक्ड अबाउट द अनायन S4O6 2 नेगेटिव. टेक्स्ट बुक में भी दिया है, आई हैव डिस्कस्ड दिस इन redox. Yes or no? Don't remember? ठीक है. So the four sulfur atoms were bonded by single bonds in the center. The extreme sulfurs were bonded by oxygen atoms, 3 on each side, like this. That's S4 with O6, 3 on each of the terminal sulfur. Once again, if you calculate sulfur oxidation number, it will be 4x minus 12 equal to -2. X will become equal to +10/4 or +2.5. Again, ये 2.5 is the average oxidation number. Real oxidation number of the sulfur atoms would be 0, 0 for the sulfurs which are not having any bond with the other atom. When the bond is with the same atom, the oxidation number is always 0 in the uncombined state, rule number 1. Yes?
Yes.
And the extreme sulfurs based on the bonding will have +5 each. So now when you take out the average, it is +10 total divided by 4 sulfur. That's why it is +10/4. Understood?
Yes.
Fourth, turn the page. You have Pb3O4. This is also called red lead. Red lead. नाम लिख लो, अच्छा लिखा हुआ है. This is a mixed oxide of twice PbO with PbO2. Now जैसे iron में we have +2 and +3, lead doesn't have +2 and +3. It actually has +2 and +4. So the oxidation states are decided based on from which group it is related with. So this is carbon family का element. So +3 oxidation state वहाँ possible नहीं है. It can be +2 or +4, which is variable. So once again, on calculation, you will get the average oxidation number same. That is +8/3. But in reality, it is +2 for one lead into 2, sorry, and +4 for the second. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Fifth में we have a complex. Now ये complex का concept हम आगे पढ़ेंगे. As of now, just observe this one example. FeH2O5, NO, and SO4. They can ask you the oxidation number of Fe over here. Now, if I break down this, it's similar to a salt compound. What is the charge on sulfate?
2-.
But we need to explain the concept.
So what would be the overall charge on this square bracket?
Plus.
Plus 2,
Two.
na? See, if you have calcium ka sulfate, so if you say this is -2, this has to be +2, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what is the charge on water?
0.
0.
It's a neutral molecule. And NO जो है उसका charge यहाँ पर +1 होता है. NO is a positively charged species with +1. So Fe का oxidation I don't know, so I can take it as X plus 5 into 0 for water plus 1 for NO, and the total will be equal to +2. So when you calculate this X, meaning the oxidation number of Fe comes out to be +1. Got this?
Yes.
So just remember few of these cases, they all will be understood when you move to the other chapters. But when you solve the MCQs, there might be questions based on this. That is why I'm covering that. Okay, then in CH2O. CH2O is the molecular formula of HCH double bond O. Can you recognize the compound now?
Methanol.
Aldehyde.
It's the first aldehyde called. Common name?
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde. The oxidation state of carbon is to be found. So it will be X plus 2 for hydrogen minus 2 for oxygen, and it becomes equal to 0. So in methanol, the oxidation number of carbon comes out to be 0. And lastly, FeS2. This is called iron pyrites. This iron pyrites is a compound having the shine like gold. It glows like gold, but it is not real gold, and that is why it is called fool's gold. Gold जैसा दिखता है, but real में ये gold नहीं होता है. So fake gold जो होता है, या the things which are used in imitation or in ornaments, if we want to replace the real gold, FeS2 is the replacement. Now in FeS2, which is called iron pyrites, the oxidation number of iron is +2 and the sulfur is -1. मतलब basically Fe का oxidation number यहाँ पर +1 है, and S2 overall could be written as -2 or equivalent to S-1. Now this is very similar to the peroxide. How do we write peroxide का oxidation number?
-1.
O-1. But peroxide always have 2 oxygen atoms linked by single bond.
Yes, sir.
And each oxygen gets -1. So can I also write it as O2 with overall charge -2?
Yes, sir.
So the peroxide is O2 -2, उसी family में if sulfur is written like that, it is called pyrites. Peroxide is for oxygen and pyrites is the name given for similar species
Sulfur.
for sulfur. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that, I just completed with the oxidation number concepts. Now, how to solve the questions based on redox, that also I have discussed based on the concept of equivalence, wherein we see the change in oxidation number and multiply by the number of atoms undergoing the change. ठीक है, उसी के few examples I have given in the notes, and then there are exercises for redox. So in the next session, I'll discuss the examples and start with the redox ka exercise. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And in redox itself, you have the concepts of hydrogen peroxide, the volume strength, percentage labeling. So there are few questions which are covered over here, the concept of which I have already discussed. Okay. So what you can do is you can start with the 1 hash of exercise 1. 1 hash of exercise 1 by next Friday. Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.